And now, live from Renta Studios in Canada's tech capital, Waterloo, Ontario, it's Ang Rob Rants. Put your hands together for your hosts, Angela Coté and Robert Bruski.
No one's singing anything!
And all these 8,000 fans that are here watching us.
Whoa!
I can't believe how many people came to see us.
So excited to be here.
You know, I think that our rants have really taken off.
Yep.
Like, there's at least maybe 8 people now that watch them.
At least, yep.
Yeah.
And their family.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Mom. Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
We're back at the Ellen studio.
Yeah, we are. White table, or white chairs, white sofas.
These are chairs, and look at those socks you've got on.
They're giraffe.
Yeah.
Genuine giraffe. New sock goofing.
Any meaning to that?
Nope. I just like giraffes. Nice microphone.
Oh yeah, I bought it myself. Anyway, okay, so we're all official now again. Here we are back with the microphones and
water.
And yeah, coffee. You mean?
Mm-hmm.
So no more Zoom. Well, just for today, we're gonna go back to Zoom.
Yeah, we are.
But this is a special time because we're here together in studio.
In studio.
Yeah, at the Ang Rob Rants studio, sponsored by.
There's no sponsors.
Oh yeah, okay. We're anybody want to sponsor us?
Oh, that's
Crickets.
a good idea. Yeah, we
Crickets.
could take sponsors.
Crickets.
We could do like a cross-country tour in a bus. Just get our big
We
faces
can't go to
painted
the
on the
US
side.
yet though because the border's still closed.
Right. So we'll have
As of recording right now. It might change.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
We'll just deal with the maple syrup and the poutine.
And the beaver tails.
Yeah, beaver tails.
Yeah.
And moose on the highway.
Yeah. So okay. So what's new in your life? Like we're on Ellen, right?
I know.
Like we don't usually do that on our rant.
Well,
so,
I actually want to rant about something because I have 2 important questions for you that I would love to know as a franchisor, and I'm sure every other franchisor, I don't even know which camera to look at.
I know there's
every
so
other
many.
franchisor
There's so many
out there is going to love to know. Okay.
Okay.
So, question is, how do I get more franchisees, and how do I make my current franchisees more profitable?
I'm out. No. Kidding. These are my favorite 2 questions. How did you know?
I don't know. It's not like this is scripted or anything
no,
like that.
not if it was, we'd be fired. We'd have to fire ourselves. So, okay, I love these questions. These are great. So I'll tell you a little story.
Okay.
Back in the day, 4 years ago, when I started walking around at conferences and things and saying, I'm a franchise consultant, which I learned very early on is not a good thing to call myself because that meant broker.
In the US.
Well, in Canada a little bit. Anyway,
Okay.
I realized don't call yourself a franchise growth catalyst.
Boom.
Learned early on that besides if and how to franchise your business, another key question was, how do I help my franchisees be more profitable? How do I but how do I inspire them to figure out how to grow their business? And you know, what was awesome for me on this is I was able to tap into my experience, as many people have heard, as a 20-year-old female boss's daughter showing up to teach these older male franchisees who had invested their life savings, you know, in this franchise or my family business, M&M Food Market, or M&M, formerly M&M Meat Shops. And because I saw how important and critical it was to get that support right, when I started working with franchisors and they were asking me like, my franchisees aren't listening to me. And it's like, let's check what you're doing there to get them to listen.
Yep.
And this is where I saw, oh my gosh, there's like I'm so passionate about being able to like help people figure this out. And so the little story is, I would work with franchisors that had this challenge of how do I get them to listen and whatever. And I was like, wait a minute, there's a little problem here. You did not properly not just vet, but align with your franchisees that you currently have. So they maybe never were a fit, and now you're trying to help them, and they actually aren't ever going to thrive because it's not their thing. Nothing wrong with those people, but it wasn't clear to them what they were getting into. So that's where I learned I've got to help people on both the side of how to help support their franchisees and inspire them to, work to be profitable, and how do you find the right franchisees. So I just thought I'd give you that context as a starting point.
Okay, so with that being said, what can you help me with first? Should you tell me how to find more franchisees, or should you tell me how to make my current ones more profitable?
That's an awesome question, and there's a very clear answer. In my opinion, and a lot of opinions of other franchise experts that I align with, let's get your current franchisee. Yes!
That's what I'm talking about!
Yeah, there's no point in going and getting more franchisees, because what's going to happen?
I mean, if your current franchisees aren't doing well, the new ones aren't going to be doing well because there's something broken there in your system that helps get them to profitability. You're probably not going to get great referrals from your franchise.
That's the bigger problem right there, right? So I always say to people, if you don't deal with these franchisee like relationship issues and support, then you're going to hit a major growth roadblock.
Yeah. Because
the new franchisee prospects are going to go and, of course, call your current franchisees. So, you've got to put, I would always start with, if you have franchisees already, what are they saying? Are they happy? And, a lot of franchisors initially get kind of heebie-jeebies about going to their franchisees and finding out if they're happy. I mean, if they're not profitable, that's a sign right there. But if they're new and they're not profitable yet, that might be fine. But are they happy? And wouldn't you rather know than have that swept under the rug? Like, if they're not happy.
If you're asking me, the answer is yes. I would rather know than have it swept under the rug.
Yeah, like, it's better to know, right? So if you know, then you can fix the problem, and you can work with them on it, and show them that you care. So I would always start with checking in with your current franchisees with, like, okay, if a franchise prospect came to you and said, would you do this again? And they tell you up front, like, I would probably not, then we got to stop everything and let's deal with that. So I would first deal with that, and then I would deal with the recruitment. So should we talk about that then first?
I would love, please bestow all of this wisdom you have on me.
Well,
I could use any help that I can get, as I'm sure many, many people out there could, right?
Yeah, no, the tough thing is, a lot of franchisors, especially early like emerging, under 30 units, say to me, like, but like, I'm doing all this. I'm giving them, we have a fantastic operations manual. It's super comprehensive, 300 pages.
A help
hotline. It's online. We have a help hotline. They can even text us in the middle of the night.
We build their website for them. We do all of the software development for them.
We give them graphics for social media, for marketing. They don't have to do anything.
We're a pizza joint. We go find all their ingredients for them. We got everything.
We've got everything. And I go, yeah, but you're missing.
What are you missing?
Key point. Well, I'll give a shout out right now to our mutual Wilfrid Laurier University alumni, Dan Monahan. Yeah, hi Dan. Go
Hawks!
Yeah, go Hawks. Who also lives in the hometown that we both are from here, Waterloo, are in the home studios of.
Hot.
Yeah.
So hot.
It's hot right now. And so Dan always has been a mentor of mine and taught me this. And I think, we did this at M&M Meat Shops, but I didn't realize how to word this. So yeah, that stuff we just talked about, that's support in my mind, and the way Dan explains it. And then there's coaching. Okay. And so coaching, what people have a hard time wrapping their head around, because it's tapping into soft skills, and it's setting up, partly, again, it's going to sound a bit technical. Okay, weekly, we need to check in with them.
So it's ongoing.
And it needs to be, checking in the interest of, in franchising, we always talk about systems. So in the interest of efficiency, I like the idea of having like a standardized agenda that is flexible, though.
Okay, so it's focused then.
Yeah, now we're still talking technical here, though.
Okay.
But where people miss. And when I was look at us.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Okay. Like the dog.
Yeah.
Tail's wagging. Yeah.
No, the tail doesn't wag. The whole ass wags.
Yeah. Demonstration.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope.
No. Okay, keep it cool.
Yep.
All right. So with the soft skills side, and this is what people miss, and this is what I was trying to kind of allude to a little bit here a few minutes ago, when I would show up to help these older male franchisees, I couldn't just show up. Hi, I'm the boss's daughter. I'm here to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
I had to really tap into like what mattered to them. And I'm not pretending I knew this right away. I learned, I got put through the ringer. But even when I was a franchisee for 18 years, we had different, what back then were called field consultants. Now the term is typically franchise business coaches, coming and going like, they every few years we get a new one or whatever. And the ones that were good would build relationships with us and trust. And they didn't come in and go, well, your KPI, like you're down on this and you're up. And why is that light bulb not, why is that light bulb out? And you're closing too early. Like, don't come in and tell me, well, it's my business. So they understood that I got to build trust and build relationship first. And then from there, then we can start to say, hey, like, why? Just curious, like, are you guys having a hard time finding that light bulb? Or, like, then
they got into business for themselves and not by themselves.
It's so awesome that you just said that, don't you?
That.
Yeah. So it really, it's the soft skills side of coaching is the ability to recognize that the franchisee you're checking their vitals, which is their KPIs and stuff, but you're also checking kind of where they're at emotionally and mentally. Because like any business owner, entrepreneur, I'm sure we've got lots of entrepreneurs here in our fan base. There's so many of them.
Way up there in the nosebleeds, guys.
Yeah.
We love you. We love you.
Yeah. So, these entrepreneur, everything, we all know business is tough. And oh my gosh, I totally forget what I was going to say.
Me too. I was so
excited about all these people that are here. Okay, that's fine. But so coaching, understanding people, trust, building trust, empathy. And if anybody's listening to this right now and watching, all these people that are watching, research Simon Sinek, leadership, empathy, look those things up. That's a starting point.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is the franchisee support side that people miss and that I get, as you can probably tell, I get really passionate about it.
There was one day when I was going for a run, I was listening to the radio, I was reading a book, and I was listening to a podcast all in one day. That's what I was doing that day. I don't know. And every single time in that day, the Disney Institute came up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why is this happening? And so I Google the Disney Institute and I find out that they have a whole lesson plan and curriculum for teaching people how to interact with other people.
Yeah.
Which I think is fantastic. If you've ever been to Disney World or Disneyland and know how
you can feel it.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, that's what my dad just really innately understood and why I think we were able to get the business to almost 500 locations over the years. So franchisee support, when people say, how can I get my franchisees to listen? I'm like, that's a red flag that they think it's about getting the franchisee to listen. Let's talk about building that relationship. Yeah. And so we can't get deep into that right now because we need to talk about recruitment. But on the franchisee support side and profitability, if you can get them to feel like Mary Thompson, shout out to Mary.
Yes.
Mary Thompson from Neighborly on the roundtable was saying, like, she actually on the pre-phone call where we chatted a bit, she said, I love my franchisees. Mm-hmm. Like, I love my franchisees. And my dad actually said that standing on a stage with, 400 plus locations at the time. And he got teary-eyed like at a convention and was like, you guys are my family. If you're not feeling that as a franchisor, then that's like, you've created an us-them culture. And that's because you've, maybe not build that trust.
People listen to you when they're not micromanaged.
Yeah.
And they don't feel micromanaged.
And they feel loved.
If they feel loved.
Or the other way around.
Yeah. So that whole compassion, sympathy, empathy, all that sort of stuff creates and invokes love amongst your franchisees or from franchisor to franchisee. So they don't feel micromanaged and then they listen to you.
And it's not like it's just something you're going to wake up one day and figure out. Like, it takes time to understand, but it is, it's leadership. So,
leadership, resilience, patience.
Oh, thick skin. The franchisees are going to be the judge and jury of you every day.
Every day.
You've got to be able to handle that. That's going to be the fact, and don't always be defensive and like, okay, why are they upset? Like, let's just like in a marriage or any important relationship. So we better move on to franchise. So
yes.
So now there are franchisees out there that are not a fit. It's not their fault. Well, it might be, but it usually what I see is.
But I can coach any franchisee into being a fit.
Yeah. You have like, yeah, but like, so if the franchisee, like, let's make sure in the recruitment process that we find out if they have the right traits, the foundational traits to be successful as a franchisee. And I have, because you use it even, and I love this on your website. So go to the Control V VR franchising.
Virtualrealityfranchise.com.
Yeah. And it's on there in your own way, which is great. But the DNA of a franchisee. And if anybody all these people that are here, we got a gift for everybody.
Yeah.
Free.
We got a gift. And you get a car.
Yeah.
And you get a car. And you get a car.
Well, actually.
By the way, in every rant you've seen, Angela's on the left side, Robert's on the right side.
They're probably confused.
So yeah, if you're confused, it was just Angela right now that was giving away cars.
So. Well, okay, no, it's not actually cars. It's just a free resource.
Okay,
the resource. DNA of a franchisee.
Which is as valuable as a car.
Downloadable PDF on my website. So it's got the 10 traits, or you can just listen to my free podcast on the 10 traits.
What's the podcast?
Franchise Growth Catalyst podcast.
Oh man, yeah.
Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called, right? But it's so you can find it where? Spotify?
All the usual places on my
cool.
website. But okay, so you need to make sure that the franchisee has, or the prospect has these 10 traits, right? And so people can go find that. And there's ways to do that. And actually, one of my podcasts, I talked about ways to do that. So people are resourceful. They can figure out where to go find that. We've given enough tips. Figure it out, buddy. No. Okay.
Yep.
So if they don't have those traits, then I think it's not their fault. We didn't check. Like, we need to check if they have those traits. And I'll just give a couple examples. Like being a good leader. They don't have to be entrepreneurial. It's a little tiny bit usually, unless it's a very early stage franchise. But entrepreneurial a little bit, but leader, they have to know how to lead people usually, because they've got like employees to lead.
Okay, so if one of the traits is a leader, where do you find leaders? Like, I want more franchisees. How do I find them?
Yeah, well, I think that's lead gen. Now you're talking lead gen. I think that's a whole new rant.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, that would go down a whole other path. But a quick answer to that is, if you know who you're looking for, and then you find the places to go looking. But my first thought is kind of just real quick answer to that would be like, leaders if you go to LinkedIn and find middle managers, those are leaders where they're in a system usually, but they've got some autonomy, but not so much. Like, if they're always rising to the full top of a company, then they're probably going to want to do their own thing, right? So leaders, how do you know if they're a leader would be another question that people ask me.
Yep.
And that's, well, look at their resume, look at their history. Have they been a leader have they coached their kids' sports teams? Did they go on a board in their community to, make change in the community?
Okay, so
right?
let me ask you this. The trifecta, all right? 3 individuals together. Which one was the leader? Simba, Timon, or Pumbaa? Hakuna Matata!
Yeah, you got me there. I know what you're talking about, the Lion King, but I can't answer that because I don't know. Do you want to?
Well, I think Simba rose to leadership. Not everyone is born into leadership or becomes a leader or whatever. Some people have leadership thrust upon them, right? And Nala came back and she said, "You have to come save Pride Rock." And Pumbaa and Timon were like, "Yeah, we're gonna eat some grub and we're gonna go help our buddy, right? Hakuna Matata."
Okay, back to
franchise.
Commercial break for Lion King is over.
Yeah,
okay,
we can let the lineup in now.
Yeah. Okay, back to this happens all the time. I have to.
I know. We just keep going down rabbit holes.
All right. So where were we? So yeah, leadership, and then that's one trait. Another trait is being very community oriented, enjoying the fun of sales. And there's, again, in that podcast I talk about how to figure that out. But when you're recruiting, I think you need to, again, are your franchisees, current ones, happy? Cool. Then you need to look at like, one of the things I find people really miss in franchise recruitment, and I guess lead gen, we're kind of going there, is their network.
Yeah.
Like people, like that know you already and
family,
love you.
friends, social media, coworkers.
Employees make often amazing, and you can do deals with them where, you know, you might do like a buyout deal. Employees, yeah. Vendors often, because they love your concept.
Yep.
And so people go, oh yeah, I've already done that. And I'm like, yeah, but do you have a system set up to regularly check in with new vendors or new employees, like, and do they get a referral bonus? You know, like that's a big one people miss. Like, hey, I don't mind if you're going to pay like $10,000 to a broker or for lead gen, why wouldn't you give, maybe not 10,000, but why wouldn't you give a percentage of your franchise fee to somebody that helps you find a qualified lead that closes and becomes a franchisee? So I think.
So that being said, I will give anyone $10,000 that provides a qualified franchise lead.
That becomes a franchisee.
That becomes a franchisee for Control V.
Well, okay? There's your gift.
What? There's my gift. And you get $10,000. And you get $10,000.
With a bow, would it have like a big red bow on it?
Yeah, a big red bow.
Like, would it be cash and then like a big red bow?
Well, if it's cash, it's got to stay $9,999.99 in order to, you know, fall within the regulations of the Securities and Exchange Commission and all banking guidelines and things like that, because we are AML compliant.
I'm sure that was a very good use of time. Okay. So, all right. So we've got a deal on the table here, which is great. But yeah, so I think that's the big point here with recruitment is getting the right franchisee, knowing the DNA. I think a lot of people I see a lot of early stage franchisors who, and again, no judgment here, because it happens. I call it, like I always say, even the smart ones make these common missteps, and it's not their fault. But I'm just fortunate enough to have like been through a lot of this and seen it. But I think my ideal candidate is going to be X person, X traits, all these things, and quite often it's not. So I think that the important thing to do is, again, get outside help on this and help have someone else think this through with you a little bit. Like, what else might be important to make our franchisee successful? So for starting with the DNA, and then what is the DNA for your brand in addition to that? Like for you guys, they always have to have passion for the brand. That's in the DNA. But for you guys, there might be an additional element about like loving people, like really loving people, or like, what would it be? I don't know.
You know what? I would say one of the least desirable elements is usually somebody who's very game and tech focused, because sometimes they're so into it.
That's a great, okay, wait, let's pause here.
Okay,
let's just not pause.
Approach.
Freeze, unfreeze.
Freeze,
like that game.
Unfreeze.
Yeah. Tag, a freeze tag.
Freeze tag.
Yeah. So no, I didn't mean pause completely. Let's just slow this one down, because you're telling me right now that you know that that's not, but I bet initially you didn't know that.
Yeah, so I mean,
or maybe you did because you're like so smart and everything.
We knew that our customer wouldn't be your stereotypical 18 to 25-year-old male gamer. We knew that virtual reality was more like the Nintendo Wii crowd, you know? So average normal people. Yeah. But then as we started to learn from franchisees, we thought, okay, maybe a franchisee should be somebody who's tech savvy. And there's nothing wrong with tech savvy people, and we completely welcome them. But more often than not, we find that really hardcore tech savvy people are also very introverted. Yeah. They don't get out there. They don't bring people in, right?
Yeah. So like a lot of franchises, I'm sure people will relate to this that are franchisors watching this, they start to realize that the person doesn't need to have the skills that they had to start the business. They need to have the skills of building the business. Yeah. And this is one of the, that's another rant for another day, but.
We got so many ideas. This is going to go on for years and years.
We maybe already did rant about this one, but like that the franchisee, has this awesome opportunity to get out into their local community. And when, when they don't have those traits, they're less likely to do it. So, a lot of franchisees, I guess really the franchisor doesn't clarify and vet that up front. So now the franchisee is like, tech, focused and not community focused and growth focused. So I think a lot of people think a great example, I think we're going to just do a double shout out here to Dan Monahan, but
there we go again.
And Frank Milner
and Frank
and his whole team at Tutor Doctor, because they have talked about how they initially thought their ideal prospect for Tutor Doctor, which is a tutoring franchise, would be somebody who was like maybe a teacher.
Yeah.
They're like, maybe a teacher who, they have the time off in the summer, but they want to make a little extra income, and then, or they don't want to teach anymore. They want a little more flexibility in their life. But then I might have this not exactly right, but what they found out was that no, teachers like having their summer off. Teachers like having the structure. We're stereotyping here, and so like, don't anybody quote me on this, but teachers like having these systems and things in place more than like a franchise. They don't have the traits to go necessarily want to go out there. I mean, they might, but on the baseline or whatever, it wasn't like, oh, teachers want to go out and grow business and like, yeah, they're good with kids maybe, but that's not the trait needed. They can hire the tutors.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can hire a tech person, like a franchisee of Control V.
Yeah.
Can hire somebody that understands the tech, like, because there's probably some tech.
Okay, so in quick service restaurants then, if I was a pizza joint, would I hire somebody who's a fan and a connoisseur of pizza? Or should I hire somebody who's more into burgers?
You ask the best questions. That's why I love our rants and working together. Okay, I think I'll use this as I'm going to kind of change the question. No, but like at M&M, M&M Meat Shops, now M&M Food Market, could a franchisee not eat the food? Yeah, it'd be pretty hard, right? Like you have to love, like you said, connoisseur. Yeah. So that would mean you love it. Like, or so that's
sommelier.
Yeah. So that's a wine franchise, right? Okay. So like in the 10 traits, the DNA, one of them is passion and loyalty for the brand. Mm-hmm. So they'd have to have passion for like the brand, the product, the service, or the people. It's funny because if it's a carpet cleaning business, you'd be like, oh, passion for cleaning carpets.
I love cleaning carpets.
Or I love carpets.
You know how satisfying those commercials are where somebody just spills wine?
Oh, yeah.
And they get one of those vacuum cleaners that just sucks it all up and it's like, cleaner than the carpet around it?
Oh my gosh, yeah, right? So, that was, you're an outlier, I think. You're probably an outlier on that. But when it comes to a business that has something that's a little bit less kind of sexy and exciting, like a carpet cleaning, it may be that it may be more passion for the leadership team or like Neighborly, like they've got they're all service brands under the Neighborly banner, but they have the core values and purpose. Or it could be a smaller early stage franchisor, and the new franchisee likes the founder and believes in them, and so it might be just carpet cleaning or painting, but they have passion for the founder. So I think, that part there is a good, way to determine if someone's going to be. Yeah.
Well,
I wonder if we said anything smart in this rant.
I don't know, but our producer's telling us we got to wrap it up.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we each said one thing smart. Let's see. Real quick, takeaway. What do you think is the takeaway that you told everybody here?
That I told everyone?
Yeah.
Well, I think the number one takeaway is that you as a franchisor, you need to find franchisees that match your brand, that match the DNA that you'd be looking for in a franchisee. And you got to isolate where to find them too.
Yeah. Okay. So what I want people to really hear loud and clear is that I can't even rant and
all the pizza fans are waiting for me to take them for burgers.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But the biggest thing I want to get across to people is that franchisee support is not just having the resources, it's having those soft skills. So like throwing a 20-year-old out into the way I was, maybe wasn't the best idea. Yeah. I learned a lot and maybe kind of it worked out, but like you've got it, that person in the field is a really key role. So on that note, are you ready?
Yeah.
We're doing this.
There we go.
Ready?
Wait. 1,
no,
2, 3.
Go be awesome.
Go be awesome. Hey everyone. Thank you for coming. Love you.
Oh yeah.
Ang Rob Rants is filmed in front of an almost live studio audience. Copyright Ang Rob Rants 2020. All rights reserved.